Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. Today I'm going to be starting another new little, mini series on my channel, which is going to be called The Witches of Hollyweird. Now, we talk a lot on this channel about Hollyweird, aka Hollywood, where a lot of scary, crazy, disgusting, and just evil things go on behind the scenes. And I talk about a lot of that on this channel. So if you want to hear more about that, obviously subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about this series and any other people, any other witches or even warlocks you feel like need to be in this series, and obviously like the video if you did like it. But today I'm going to be talking about Kris Jenner. Now, the reason I'm talking about Kris Jenner, I've been wanting to make a video about this woman for a while. And the reason why I've been wanting to make this video about this woman is it all started off that she just didn't give me good vibes. And it's funny because a lot of people who I talk about on my channel, especially who I talk against on my channel, or maybe expose if you like, they just gave me bad vibes from the beginning. And I use those bad vibes and I then go and do actual research and I find actual information that backs up why I was having such bad vibes. Now, Kris Jenner, I think, is a very, very powerful woman. I think a lot of people appreciate how powerful she is and her influence. Obviously, she is the mother of the Kardashian-Jenner clan or cult, as I've also heard people calling it. And so she is somebody who, although you may not know exactly what she's doing behind the scenes, the more and more I've looked into it, the more and more powerful this woman is, and the more and more intentional she is, and how and I'm going to be explaining in this video how and why I think that she is a witch of Hollyweird. So here we go. Basically, I've got my notes here, by the way, guys. So basically, I looked into her history because I said, you know what? Let's look at who Kris is as a person. Like, before the fame, before keeping up with the Kardashians and all of that stuff now, right? It's easy to judge her now. Let's see what she was doing prior to being, this well-known person that we know. So I looked into her past, and a very interesting thing that came up is that her first partner that she was with, at least the first partner that I found history of, I guess it's probably not her first partner, but the partner she had before, Rob Kardashian, was called Caesar. And actually, it turns out apparently that she cheated on Caesar, and actually it was one of his friends who claimed that, she saw a financial opportunity in Rob Kardashian. So, I mean, this is a friend of obviously this Caesar guy who she eventually left. And funnily enough, she cheated on this Caesar guy with Rob Kardashian. So, just a little picture here of already, in my opinion, the kind of person that she is, in the sense that, and again, people make mistakes. So let's you know what, for all intents and purposes for now, let's just say that was a mistake. Let's just say she learned her lesson in that time of cheating, and now she's with Rob. Obviously, the friend has suggested that she's with him because she sees a financial opportunity. And it's interesting also that a pastor at the time also claimed that Kris saw a gold mine in Rob. So again, even from these parts, even just from this start in Kris's life, and by the way, this Caesar guy she was with, it was back in, before, it was in the 1980s, I believe is when those guys were together. So this is going back a little bit now, and then it was, I think it was 1991 when she got married, or she got married to Rob Kardashian, who she actually married. So let's assume that, that was all lovely and dandy. One of the things that's been said about her, and a lot of these things are alleged, guys, a lot of the stuff on this channel, I just want to make it very clear that as time goes on, I'm going to try more and more to make my videos have more of the actual evidence that I've read. But my videos are a lot more about just discussing the concept and ideas and exposing things based on what I've seen already. So just putting that out there as well. But yeah, so it's been said that, she used to spend a lot of Rob's money, was very much enjoying, being married to a rich man. And even after having Rob Kardashian, so that would have been their fourth child together, she got what people call a mommy makeover, which really just means she got plastic surgery. Again, is this just the beginnings of all these plastic surgery things that we've been seeing from the Kardashians in general? I think yes. But again, she cheated on Rob with a soccer player, I believe, by the name of Todd. So again, although she was getting all the money, although she was married and now with 4 children, again, she did cheat. I'm not sure at which point in the marriage, but at some point in that marriage, she cheated again. Now, the interesting thing about her and Rob Kardashian, as in the father, Rob Kardashian, is the fact that in a lot of these things, she's taken opportunities to capitalize off of who she's with. So when it comes to Rob Kardashian, she was very much in the face. He's most well known for the O.J. Simpson case, which ended up being very, very popular. And a lot of people know and remember that whole situation. Now, Kris, if you look back, and there's a lot of information, a lot of footage you can see where she took advantage of, you know, being around the court all the time. Bearing in mind that this O.J. Simpson case happened after she'd already moved on from Rob as well, and she was with somebody else now. So she still took, you know, the opportunity, just being with somebody like Rob Kardashian and everything, you know, to be around and be involved in everything. So after Rob, moving swiftly on, she has now fallen in love with Bruce, who she just so happened to marry 1 month after her divorce finalized with Robert. Now, it's like, sis, and again, allegations of potential, you know, there might have been a bit of a grey area in terms of when her and I'm going to call him Bruce for now because he wasn't Caitlyn yet, but when her and Bruce started dating. So obviously that must have happened before there was a full divorce and everything. But then again, she went and cheated again, even on Bruce, with Todd. So again, and her and Bruce obviously had 2 children we now know as Kendall and Kylie, and Bruce had his own I think just maybe 2 or 3 children as well. So, and I think this is where it gets very interesting, because here is around the time when the Kardashians are becoming very, very, very well known. And Bruce was never a big fan of the fame. I remember I used to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians like in the earlier seasons, and I could see Bruce was not really about doing all of this online stardom thing. He was much more of the family one, and I guess because she assumed the more of the business side, and she was always thinking more about business, he was kind of thinking of himself. He kind of assumed more of the home family kind of role in that. And the interesting thing about her and Bruce is that his mum claims that Kris is a controlling monster, and that she couldn't stand how backstabbing she was, even as far as the children were concerned. So that, and by children, is in Kris's children. So that's kind of worrying, very, very worrying. And in fact, another fact that I find rather worrying is that once her and Bruce did split up, which obviously we know they split up, he then became Caitlyn, yada, yada, yada. And he produced this book about, I guess, a lot of things they'd been through, like a lot of people do. And one of the things that Kris did was to suggest that all the stuff that he was saying about her was lies. And again, this is just something that I find, I mentioned this particular fact on purpose because it just goes to show you that there's a lot of people out there who they're happy to, they know who they are, and because you can just deny something, and as soon as you've denied something, unless you're the people you're talking about it with are actually there, is little that the person who's accusing you of that thing can say, because, well, you were just accused of that thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very clever for her to do that. But let's put relationships to the side for a second, and let's talk about the various businesses that have happened with the Kardashian family, in particular led by Kris Jenner. So there's been the Kardashian card, they've had merch, they've had apps. I remember Kim Kardashian had an app, you know, where you could live the Kim K life. Kris also did a legacy school where people would pay $105,000 a year to enroll in this school, where they would get to learn from her skills and her business and everything. She sold candles for a while. She was also known at a certain point to do unpaid internships, which I think unpaid internships are very, very shameful in this day and age. People need to be paid for what they're doing. It's unrealistic to expect someone can give up so much of their time without needing the funds. I don't think people are just out here just trying to drain people of their money. I think people are trying to make an actual life for themselves, and a lot of life needs money. So I think these unpaid internships, again, is just very, very dodgy. One of the interesting things that I saw as well is how she kind of monetized herself through Caitlyn, who was Bruce at the time, and his affiliations with obviously the Olympics. And I'm going to talk separately in a video about their relationship and what I think was really going on there, because I think there's a lot of lessons to learn within that. But she got very involved with Bruce in when he was Bruce, because he was an Olympic champion. So they came out with a lot of like exercise videos and all these different affiliations. So again, just continuing all these different business ventures that she can be involved in. And then interestingly, obviously, we've ended up with Kim, who was a film and TV wardrobe stylist for Paris Hilton. Again, wouldn't be surprised if the mum wasn't playing a big role in making that happen. and so on and so forth. And the interesting factor and why I mentioned Kim in this video about Kris is the fact that Kim and Ray J to this day are actually making royalties off of that sex tape that got leaked online. I think it's something like 300,000 a year or something like that, royalties that they're making. So they're still making money off of this video. And again, even if it was leaked by accident, which a lot of us don't believe it was, I definitely believe it was Kris. And I believe Kris would have leaked it and not even told Kim and be faking to Kim all along that she didn't do it. I really believe that. And I really believe in general that the Kardashian women underneath Kris, which is obviously Kourtney, Khloe, Kim, Kendall and Kylie, I really, and not so much Rob, I feel like is kind of branching off over the years and stuff, which is why probably, you know, there's been negative press around him, because there's always negative press around people who are doing their own thing, going against the grain and all that. But I very much think that Kris has a very controlling role. I see her as being very much a puppet master, and I reckon that, you know, her children probably are aware of her toxic traits. She's probably hiding it through things like saying, oh, but I do this for you guys because I love you, I want you guys to have money, don't you guys want to be rich? I mean, a lot of these things I'm saying now are also giving me like Lou M. Taylor vibes. I don't know why, but I'm going to be doing a video about Kris and Lou M. Taylor, so if you want to check out that video, please check that video out, because that's going to be really interesting, especially now with everything that's gone on with Kylie and Travis Scott and everything, and just that connection and affiliation, because actually there is a connection between Kris Jenner and Lou M. Taylor, which I'm going to talk about in another video. And guys, it's a deep connection. It's not just like they go to the same like women's meeting once a month, like women in business meeting. I'm not talking about stuff like that, so definitely look out for that. So yeah, so I feel that when it comes to Kris, over the years, she's been somebody who's always there, always doing well, but we don't ever really know exactly what it is that she's doing. And I think she's one of the biggest masterminds that there are out there, and that's why I refer to her as a witch. To some extent, I do feel her children are some level of puppets in her, that to her, as in don't think that they're as aware of maybe how dark and scary a lot of the things that Kris is doing. But personally, I can definitely see her being the type of person behind the closed doors, you know, getting involved in things like sacrificing people, and doing a whole bunch of stuff, and just saying to her children, like, look guys, don't worry about what I'm doing, just know that I'm doing this for the family. And then obviously for the children, seeing and knowing that this is what's happening, probably like so grateful, like, oh my gosh, if not for mum, she does everything for us. Because this is what a lot of people do. A lot of people who are doing negative things or bad things, they disguise themselves as the most helpful and loving individual ever. That is like the scariest thing of it all. And I think that's how a lot of people get trapped in Hollyweird. So that's why I very much believe that she's a witch. I very much feel and see her energy coming around all the time. Whenever there's something going on with her daughters, she's at the forefront. Every single thing that these people do in their family is basically monetized from their, they're coming out with, you know, skincare, they're coming out with clothing, they're coming out with, there's so many different things that I've seen. I couldn't even remember all of them. Like, I was going to try and write down all the different businesses I heard that they did, and I couldn't even manage. I mean, we obviously have that dodgy wedding between Kim and Kris Humphries that they had, where where they were divorced within 72 hours. Kim claimed that it didn't make even 5 cents, or I think it was actually Kris who claimed she didn't make even 5 cents. Turns out she made at least 2 million off of that wedding. And so, yes, I very much believe she's a witch in Hollyweird. It's kind of hard to actually get a lot of information about her, and I feel like she's going to be one of those people I'm going to have to really be searching in like proper paperworky type things to actually see her name. And I think this is the thing that's concerning about a lot of these people who I feel like are the real puppet masters and the real witches and warlocks of Hollyweird, are people you don't necessarily see on a daily basis. They're people you don't necessarily hear about all the time or know exactly what they're doing, because a lot of the time they're the ones who are in control of what you would call the talent or the art or the whatever it is, which the talent being obviously her children, and even just her children and their various marriages. And I feel like there's a tactical element there. I don't know if I'm crazy, and a lot of these things I'm saying are just my opinions and my thoughts, but I would really not be surprised if she plays a big role in pushing for the actual relationships of her children. Now Kourtney all of a sudden is with Travis Barker, is it? Travis Barker or Travis Baker? Yeah, Travis Barker, who is a big rock star. Obviously the rock world is also very, very evil one, if you want to talk about Hollyweird. And now Kim's with Pete Davidson, who's a comedian, film producer, screenwriter, actor, and all of this stuff. So again, I wonder how much of these people in behind the scenes are her children actually living genuine lives, because bearing in mind that people, and Beyonce even said this, which I thought was really interesting, and spoiler alert, Beyonce is about to be on the list of witches in Hollyweird, so look out for that video. But she talked about how people are sold by a brand. They're looking for a brand that they believe in and they want to support, or they want to buy stuff from. And I think Kris has done a very good job of building a brand and focusing on that brand, and understanding that, unfortunately, in this day and age, well, not even unfortunately, a lot of what she has done and others have done, and this is why I'm calling them the witches, is they've played into the fact that people like to see something that's that seems unattainable but they think is attainable, and they like to look up to things and they like to idolize things. And I think her, along with other people, are master manipulators of that trait in human beings. And that's why the Kardashians have been so famous, and so many people are offended that they're famous for nothing. Really and truly, there's actually a lot of work that's gone on behind the closed doors, and they've actually worked really hard, funnily enough. But they've actually worked really hard to look like they're famous for nothing, and just to monetize that and to make that seem as if that's something that's possible. Because now they set the standard as well of that as well. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say today for Kris in terms of being a Witches of Hollyweird. I'm going to continue to look in more and more into her, because like I said, I've been wanting to talk about her for ages. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, and if you guys know anything that I haven't mentioned in this video, I will most definitely be looking into it, because I think there's a lot to be seen, there's a lot to be heard, and I want to get down to it, because there's some scary things going on, and I think the more we know, the better. So this has been a bit of a long one. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.